going to be a big game. I'm going to say it again, like I said it last week. Graham, you were actually on the show. I think I have a little bit of credibility built in from saying this last week. This is a winnable game for the Panthers. Last week, I said it was a winnable game, and I said it was going to sound crazy, and I was going to say, I've said it before, but this one is winnable, and all I can do is look at the two teams and call it like I see it, and I looked at the game, and I said it was a winnable game.
Entice me.
This one, same deal. I'm not saying they're going to win. I'm not saying they're going to be favored to win, but I am saying there are some things in the matchup that make me think it is a winnable. It is a game that it is possible for the Panthers to win. Green Bay is middle of the pack in just about all major categories, offense and defense, except one. There's one category that they're not pretty much middle of the pack. They give up the third most rushing yards per game. Jordan Love is solid, actually. The Packers might have done it again. They may have, but probably, I don't know if he's MVP like Favre and Rodgers, but it looks like he's going to be somebody they can depend on at least for a couple years. So Jordan Love is solid, but not spectacular. Their passing game, middle of the pack. Their total offense, middle of the pack. Their defense, their secondary and edge rushing, middle of the pack. They're just about everything, middle of the pack. Their win-loss record, kind of middle of the pack. They give up the third most rushing yards per game. They aren't the best, but they aren't the worst at most things, but they are vulnerable to the run. That is what the Panthers need. That means the Panthers can lean on Chuba Hubbard, who has been effective. You want to hear a fun fact about Hubbard? His over-under in total yards for this weekend is 87.5. That is the fourth highest of any NFL running back this weekend. The names above him are the names you expect, the Christian McCaffreys of the world. That he is expected to have a very good day. You can lean on Hubbard in the run game, who have been effective, and you can ask Bryce Young to play off of that. Do you know what's actually going to be the hardest part for the Panthers?
Winning.
True. But to get there, Thomas Brown, their offensive coordinator and play caller, has to be so otherworldly willing to be boring. Because the Packers are vulnerable in the run. The Panthers have an actually effective running game when they commit to it. The problem is they might have the most boring run game in the NFL. Hubbard is a solid running back. He is not going to reel off any 50-plus touchdowns, 50-yard-plus yard touchdowns. Right? He's not going to make six guys miss and beast quake his way into the end zone. It's just not going to happen. But he could be good with like 4 yards, 5 yards, 4 yards, 3 yards, -2 yards, 7 yards, 3.5 yards. He could be that kind of boring but effective. So it's going to be a challenge in self-control to just keep taking a profit as a play caller. It's so tempting to go run, short pass, completion, run. I have to throw it deep. Like, it's so tempting to do that. He has to withhold. Right? Notice that what I'm saying is the point is not about depending on Bryce. The point is not about saying, oh, our young quarterback grew 3 sizes on that game-winning drive last week, and now we can trust him to sling it 45 times. It's actually the opposite. Bryce Young proved he has some late-game moxie, right? He proved that if he has the ball and there's 45 seconds on the clock, he's not going to metaphorically wet his pants. He's not going to let it trickle down the side of his leg. But you need to get him to the late game portion with a chance to win. You need to get him there. That's where the run game comes into play. And that's where the Packers are vulnerable, which is nice. Which is very nice. Everything else that the Packers do is serviceable. Everything else. So you got to be on your P's and Q's all up and down the roster. You can't fall asleep at the wheel anywhere, but the place where they are vulnerable, the place where you can get them, is the place where you have to be just absolutely boring. I think of it like this. Every young quarterback that has a bunch of success, I'm sure we'll see it with C.J. Stroud sooner or later if he comes back and plays. But every young quarterback that has success, suddenly teams just play him in two shell. You hear about it. Two shell means two safeties, off the ball, keep everything in front of you. And it's defensive coordinators saying, you're a young quarterback with a star-making opportunity. We want you to take the check down 100 times. And it takes young quarterbacks a while to learn because they go, check down, tight end over the middle, check down. Man, this isn't going to be on SportsCenter. Check down. Man, this isn't going to trend on Twitter. Check down. Okay, I have to throw it deep. Interception. Right? And then it becomes just a self-discipline thing where you have to just know at some point they're going to come down. At some point, the safeties are going to come down because you're just killing them with the short stuff, and then eventually you can start taking the shots downfield again. But if they're taking it away, you can't. So if you're looking at the Packers, think of the run game as the check down. You have to have the self-discipline to just continue taking it over and over and over again. You have to. That's how you can beat the Packers. That's how it becomes a winnable game.